I'm not content with the content. I want more. I'm not content with the content. I want more.
Welcome to Hooligan Radio, folks. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, we're the podcast that covers movies, video games, true crime, cryptids, all in one. To my left, I have Josh.
Hello, everybody. This is our 25th episode. We're 1/4 of the way to 100. Isn't that pretty crazy?
Are we going to make it? I think we will. We'll find out.
TBD.
Find out in 75 weeks from now.
In a best case scenario, 75 weeks.
And the man you just heard there to my right is Isaiah.
Yo, it's your Apex champion in the house.
And let's go ahead and start with Isaiah. You have some more news.
Yeah.
Since last week you talked about the death of AAA gaming.
Yeah, so last week we talked about how AAA gaming is dying and more evidence to come out. Activision Blizzard is laying off hundreds of people tomorrow, is what the rumors have stated.
Have they said why? Is it just because of the split?
It's because they suck. No, I don't know. I don't know exactly why. All I know is that there's just a bunch of rumors going around, which probably means people in the company caught word of it and then went off and told journalists because they were pissed. So I would probably assume that it's going to actually happen, but...
Is there like any actual numbers on how much money they've been losing, out of curiosity?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much their stock is down.
Because I do know their stock's been going down and they've just been losing money as a whole, but I'm curious to see if there's an actual number on it.
I mean, I did read... This is somewhat related, but not really with... You said it was Activision?
Yeah.
Activision, I did read an article about they were refunding people for Guitar Hero Live.
Right.
Because I guess after the poor sales of that game, they laid off a whole bunch of people. So maybe this time around, I mean, I can't really think of a game that it would be related to that would have done poorly.
Right.
That they would have had to lay off people from. Is there anything Blizzard has released recently?
No. I just don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but there's been a lot of shit just being like, oh, Blizzard and Activision are not doing so hot. Like getting rid of all those C-level execs and now getting rid of all of these probably developers and other business people. You're just like, really hope you guys get that together, but...
Will they? I don't know.
Not looking
Probably
good.
not.
And is Blizzard owned by Activision?
It's Blizzard Activision. They're like partners.
Partners, okay.
But
or
Activision bought into Blizzard in 2013 or something like that.
Who am I thinking of just a couple weeks ago that announced they were splitting up?
That was Bungie.
Bungie
and
off of Activision.
Oh, and Activision. Okay, so Activision has like multiple partners,
Right.
that they work with.
Right.
Interesting. Well, I guess I can see why some companies are leaving them then.
Yeah, it is an interesting free fall that the game state is in right now. We will see where it stops.
That's the big question: is when is it going to stop? But
it doesn't matter. The indie game developers will always keep making indie games. So
the one saving grace we still have. All right, well, unfortunately, I think that's about it for gaming news this week. Josh, you want to go on some movie news?
Yeah, so there's actually quite a few things I'm interested in talking about today. Mostly trailers, but for the first one, not really a full trailer, but we did get to see Will Smith as the Genie in Aladdin, fully in blue CGI, and he looks like a big blue piece of shit. What did you guys think of it?
All of the live-action Disney that has happened as of recently has not ever tickled my fancy, so I didn't think that Aladdin was going to be the one that gets me either. I think that the first one that I'll actually be like, oh, okay, that was pretty good, is going to be The Lion King, and I also am still worried about The Lion King.
Yeah, I don't know how this live action is really honestly going to go. Like, I look at, like, The Lion King, Aladdin coming out, but I'm just like, is anything going to match the OG animated movies of it?
Yeah, I think that with the ones that have come out so far, they've made Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Maleficent, which I didn't see, but I guess is a live-action version of Sleeping Beauty. I don't know a ton about that one.
Didn't they make Dumbo, too?
They're making Dumbo this year.
That one looks terrifying.
This year it's Dumbo, Lion King, and Aladdin. The one thing I will say for them is regardless of what the quality, all of them have been making a ton of money. So they're all successful in that front. But how long will that last? Will we start to see a fatigue this year, with that, especially releasing 3 of them? Dumbo's out in March, Aladdin's out in May, and then I believe Lion King is July. So that's like boom, boom, boom. I don't think they're all going to make $1 billion. But focusing on Will Smith.
They're Disney.
Focusing on Will Smith. I mean, are you guys fans of the original Aladdin and Robin Williams' Genie in the original?
My comment is, I believe Shaq should have been the genie, and I still think that right now. He proved himself in Kazam, and he should have gotten it
proved
now.
himself in Kazam because he was a genie.
Yes.
Wow.
Have you seen Kazam?
Yeah. Have you seen anything that Shaq's ever acted in? Ask him about his Buick commercial.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you could see his flops. He couldn't even flop in basketball.
It would bring so much joy to my heart.
Yeah, to you specifically, and everyone else would have been like,
millions.
"Wow, I can't believe Disney made a D-list movie."
Yeah. Did you ever see the original Aladdin, Isaiah?
Yeah, I don't remember it. I remember that there was a rug, and they flew on it, and it was dope.
So a lot of people are mad because of the original Aladdin. They're saying, "Oh, you're disrespecting that original Genie performance from Robin Williams." I've only seen Aladdin once, and I don't. It's fine. It's not one of my favorites, so that's not even why I don't like this. I just think it looks bad. Like, watching the look of Will Smith, and maybe the effects aren't finished, but, like, it doesn't look good.
My question is, how are they going to handle... Because there was some, like, backlash going around about how, like, some of the songs in the Aladdins were, like, low-key racist.
Yeah.
So are those songs going to be the same
Well, I think
songs?
they actually... Way back when they released it, they actually changed the lyrics of Aladdin. I may be wrong on this, but from what I know, they changed the lyrics from the theatrical version to the later home releases because that backlash happened after it was released.
I was going to say, it was either the theatrical release to home release or whenever they went from VHS to DVD.
Yeah.
Because I think you can get VHS.
Yeah, so I think those lyrics have been changed.
Racist lyrics.
I have no idea. I didn't know there was racist lyrics.
Of course you didn't, Zach.
It's like the penis thing, right? All right, and then the last one here is the Child's Play reboot. This is the one that has Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So a little bit of backstory here. The original Child's Play, the original Chucky movie, is about a doll that gets possessed by the spirit of a murderer. This new reboot looks like they're updating that idea, to 2019. This is a doll that has been made with artificial intelligence to be more like, your doll's going to know who you are. It's going to be your best friend because of the technology, but it seems the technology is not going to turn out so well. So what do you guys think of the trailer, and what do you think of changing kind of the origin of Chucky from being possessed by a murderer to now just being like an evil robot doll, essentially?
The trailer looked fine to me. The first thing, because when I started looking into that, how they're going to be changing it and stuff like that, I'm wondering, is this going to be the only Chucky doll that is going to act like this, or is there going to be other Chucky dolls, like an army of them?
Dude, I just got... What if that's the end of the movie? They kill this Chucky doll, and then it's like, the company... Like, maybe it's a prototype, right? And the company's like, all right, they're good to go. And the end of the movie is them just, like, shipping out millions of Chucky dolls. Yeah. That would be a crazy ending. But I don't...
Sick movie.
But I don't know the answer. No real ending will now satisfy me, because I've just thought of that ending to the movie. What do you think, Isaiah?
I never really liked the Chucky movies, so I probably won't care about this one. The AI thing is cool, I guess, but also terrifying.
Is it just Chucky?
It's just going to be like a very long Black Mirror episode.
That's kind of what the trailer looked like at first. Yeah. Everyone's really trying to adopt that, I guess.
Looking a lot more dark, though, where... I can't think of the actress' name again now that you just said it.
Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah, where she was about to be hung by the Chucky doll. I was like, man, that's taking a pretty dark turn.
Yeah. I've never been a huge fan of Chucky either. I mean, I don't really... Like, it's a doll and not one of my fears, I guess. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'll probably rent it.
Chucky's probably, like, the one scary movie. As a kid, I was just like, how can you not kill a doll? Like, out of all the other scary movies, like ghosts and like monsters, I'm just like, that's a doll.
I'm like, I've hit enough dolls with a baseball bat to realize the physics in that bad boy.
Even if it has a knife, like, you can outreach a doll.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, the first two movies, it was like a kid owned it, so at least then it's kind of acceptable. Like, oh, it's a little kid, they don't know. But then, like, in the later movies, I feel like it started, like, killing adults, and that's when I was like, okay, they can't just...
And it's not even by surprise, it's just like, they're running from the doll.
Well, we have to flip topics here and talk about how Aubrey Plaza is a fucking goddess. She's so good.
She's in a movie called Ingrid Goes West that came out a couple years ago. An amazing movie that nobody saw. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, really?
So if you haven't seen Ingrid Goes West, I would highly, highly recommend it. It's about basically Aubrey Plaza lives in L.A. She's not like she follows this. What's her fucking Brie?
I know.
Not Brie Larson, the other one from the Marvel Universe. Olsen.
We're striking
Olsen.
Ashley.
Not Mary-Kate and Ashley. Elizabeth Olsen. There we go. I had to work my way there. So, Elizabeth Olsen, she follows her on Instagram, stalks her, and then becomes her best friend in real life by seeing what she likes on Instagram. It's a great commentary on social media, and then the ending is really great. Anyway, I agree. Yeah. Aubrey Plaza's great.
Well, the best part about her is, like, you see her, if you've ever watched Parks and Rec, you see how she is in Parks and Rec. And then if you see her, like, do any interviews, you just realize, like, she's not like that in real life. Yeah. You're just like, damn, she's really good at that role. And you're just like, fuck. Oh, damn. Yeah. I love Aubrey Plaza. I probably will be waiting to hear how she does in that movie.
Yeah, it's nice to see her get a big role, bigger movie.
Right.
But
that one's also by the producers of It. And the It remake was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, made a ton of money too. So.
That was like, I was a little leery hearing that was a remake. Then I saw that I was like, you know what? They didn't completely screw it up. I feel like they can do this.
And I did make a poll after this trailer came out on the Hooligan Radio Twitter, and It Chapter 2 is the horror movie most people are looking forward to this year. So if Child's Play does that as well,
announced this year.
It's coming out in September, yes.
Nice. Has there been any trailers?
We should get the first trailer next month at some point, because the first movie came out in September, trailer dropped in March, so you'd assume it'd be the same thing.
Gotcha.
It's like no one should know this info, but I this is what I do with my day, apparently. Okay.
Written to memory.
Okay, so creepy stuff. We're talking about horror movies. How about some creepy news, Zach?
Oh, we got some creepy news. And breakups, they're just the worst, aren't they?
Yeah, dude. I just hate breaking up.
Well, one woman's having one of the worst breakups of her life. A woman who married a 300-year-old pirate revealed that they're now splitting up.
Ooh.
That doesn't make any sense.
They're getting divorced?
So wait, can you read that?
She's going to get half of the booty?
Can you say the headline? Can you say the headline again?
For one more time for the headline. Woman who married a 300-year-old pirate ghost reveals that they are splitting up. To me, that sounds like a mutual split up and not like...
Yeah, it's just not working out.
Damn.
I wonder what part of that could have
Had
been.
it just been a 300-year-old ghost, maybe I could have been like, okay, let's see where this goes. But no, it's a pirate ghost.
Yeah.
You had to add that on there.
Yeah,
so what the hell is this about, Zach?
Well, Amanda Teague, an Irish woman and a Jack Sparrow impersonator, held a wedding ceremony in July 2016 where she married a 300-year-old ghost pirate named Jack and took his last name, Teague.
But not the impersonator.
The impersonator is Amanda Teague, the one that married the ghost.
Okay.
He said,
I'm trying to follow along here. It's not working.
Well, Amanda arranged a private ceremony on a boat in international waters off the coast of Ireland so she could legally marry this ghost, because it's illegal to do it in Ireland.
Did the ghost sign a prenup?
I don't know.
How did she meet the ghost?
So let me see her. She actually had a great quote in here. Amanda actually met her soulmate in 2014 when he appeared next to her as she was lying in bed.
Her soulmate?
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, here we go.
So Amanda says that he is dark-skinned, has jet black hair, and told him he was really cool with having... Actually, let me take that back. Amanda said he is a dark-skinned and has jet black hair, so he tells me. So that could just be a lie. First off. Also, one thing I want to stop here.
He has Jack Black hair is what Zach said.
Yeah. When she marries him, she is holding a picture of Captain Jack Sparrow.
I can see why this is illegal in Ireland.
That's why they went to international waters for the party.
I have watched a few documentaries, though. Not a few. One. One documentary about people, though, who, like, or maybe they're real, maybe the ghosts are real, I don't know, but have these experiences where ghosts have sex with, like, come into their room and have sex with them.
I saw Scary Movie too.
So that is
that in Scary Movie too? There's also the movie A Haunted House. Have you ever seen that? There's a popular comedy. So this was an action documentary. This happened. So
this is real life. So that actually plays into why they got married. She actually explained to him, quote, I told him I really wasn't cool with having casual sex with the spirit, and I wanted us to make a proper commitment to each other beforehand. I wanted a big traditional wedding with a white dress, and it was very important to me.
I cannot imagine this lady in her house, even if you do believe ghosts are real, reasoning with a ghost saying she's trying to save it for marriage. And the ghost being like, fuck it, I've been around for 300 years, what's a couple more months to get this girl?
So why are they splitting up?
So she said, and quote, I wish I never got married to him. I wish I was that healthy person that I was before I met him. Supposedly Jack's intentions and stuff turned, and she believes that he started sucking energy out of her to be able to manifest and stuff like that, and just started making her health decline and change the person that she was.
Every time Zach stops talking, the first thing that pops into my mind is, this is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow. I can't, dude. Oh my god.
And she's even going to as far as possibly having an exorcism done to get rid of Jack's spirit. And also, she now goes back to her legal name as Amanda
Bynes.
That's where she went this whole time.
Oh man, I can't find it, but we're going to keep it as that.
This is already my favorite.
Amanda Sparrow. Her actual last name was already Sparrow before this.
Oh my god. I'm dying.
She's probably related to the ghost.
I guess right when they met, she was talking to him and had to ask him questions to make sure he was a ghost and who he was. So
Make sure he was a ghost. What else would he be?
The ghost of Jack T.
Okay.
And would ask, give me some information, and he would, try to verify it, and then she would go on pretty much Wikipedia and verify it.
That's good. Well, who?
And this is also a pirate ghost.
How does she know that the ghost can't just go on Wikipedia and find these answers?
You're one step ahead of her.
Well, I told Zach when he first sent us this story that I was super excited for it, and it did not disappoint. That was amazing.
That was incredible.
See it, rent it, stream it. See it, rent it, stream it. See it, rent it, stream it. See it, rent it, stream it.
See it, rent it, stream it. I didn't see Lego Movie 2 yet. It did really well critically, but it actually did not make a lot of money. It made about half of what the first Lego Movie made when it opened. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably see it this weekend.
I am not shocked by that.
But what have you guys been streaming this past week?
I've been pretty busy streaming. First thing, especially for the Valentine's Day, let's talk about Big Mouth's Valentine's Day special, My Furry Valentine.
Okay.
Are either of you two fans of Big Mouth or have seen this before?
No, I mean, we've talked about Big Mouth a little bit before. I have not watched it, but I did watch the trailer for this Valentine's Day special because it auto-played when I turned on Netflix.
Yeah.
It looked pretty funny, but I'm not going to watch it.
It still has that crude humor that Big Mouth is known for, but the thing I really enjoyed about this, normally all of their episodes are 25 minutes long to 30 minutes. This one was about 45 minutes, and it really goes into the different types of Valentine's Days that you can have, especially as a couple. So you have the kid who cannot get his girlfriend the proper Valentine's Day gift that always freaks out on him. This is not good enough, blah, 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 blah. You have the kid who tries way too hard to be good for perfect for his Valentine's Day and ends up screwing it up. Just pretty much brings everything into it that you've seen across your lifetime, in being in school and stuff and trying to experience Valentine's Day yourself.
And so you enjoyed it?
I would give it a solid 8 out of 10.
I mean, I unfortunately don't have much to add just because I've never seen the show, and I assume I should watch the show before I watch this Valentine's Day special, or should I watch?
You really don't need to, actually. All you need to know ahead of time is that all the kids are going through puberty, which they explain pretty much right up front.
Do you think if I watched the Valentine's Day special before watching the show, that would be a good judgment on whether or not I would like the show?
No. And now that I'm thinking about it, you probably want to watch all the other episodes beforehand because they go into a lot of stuff that ended on season 2.
Okay.
Finale.
So there's 2 seasons?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is technically the start of season 3.
Yeah. Netflix does that sometimes. They did that with Sabrina for Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's interesting. You watched Polar as well, right?
Polar? Great. You've seen that one too. We talked a little bit before the show.
Yeah, so I have a few questions for you because this is always interesting about Netflix to me. Polar's one of those movies that came out and no one talked about and didn't get any type of attention. How did you find it? What made you watch it?
So I saw it pretty much because, like how you said, your Netflix started auto-playing Big Mouth. It started doing that for Polar for me. I was like, this looks pretty cool. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this the first 5 minutes. And the first 5 minutes was Johnny Knoxville getting executed. I was like, all right, should probably continue this one just to see where this has to go.
You left out a lot of important details. So Johnny Knoxville is receiving a blowjob and gets shot while receiving this, and the girl giving him the blowjob ends up being in on it.
Yes.
As part of this group, right? So that's the opening scene of the movie.
Spoilers.
It's the opening scene.
It's been out for like 2 weeks. I know that's enough. But
So I started this series on my YouTube channel where I watch Netflix original movies. So I watched this, and it was like it was a lot better than I anticipated. I'm trying to think of it's based off a graphic novel. You can absolutely tell it's based off a graphic novel. The style 100%. Of it is like the colors are so like bright.
It has that Kill Bill vibe to it.
Yes. It's like a cheaper. Not to brag on it, but it's like a cheaper Kill Bill. It's like it wants to be a Quentin Tarantino movie, basically. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't put it on that level. But if you are into that kind of movie, if you're into graphic novels, the main character, I forget his name, but he's played by Mads Mikkelsen. I really liked him, and I liked Vanessa Hudgens. But there's that girl in that movie who's giving the blowjob at the beginning.
Is her job as part of the team to only give blowjobs? Yeah. That's the only thing she does for the entire team.
She's just a whore. So when she meets the main character, right, because they're trying to do the same thing where they kill him while she blows him, and she's in his house and she's like, I said I'd never fuck anybody older than my dad. And then it instantly cuts to them just like fucking like hardcore like like shit. And I'm watching this movie and I had the volumes on normal volume, right? So I'm just like watching it, it's like, and then I was just I'm like, oh shit, you get a fumble and turn it down. You think someone else in the house is gonna think you're watching porn, it's like fuck.
Oh shit, I'm gonna watch this movie.
Anyway.
But that sex scene lasted for like easily 5 minutes. It wasn't just quick. It was like a solid part.
But there's like a whole gang of these villain characters, and they all have one characteristic. Like she's a whore to have sex with people. One of the girls is just a ninja, and that's it.
One's just a sniper.
Yeah. So it's a really ridiculous movie. The main villain guy is just this fat bald guy that walks around.
And he's actually the guy from Human Centipede 2, the one that's trying to put them together.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. I didn't catch that.
I'm happy to see him in another movie besides that one. Good for him.
But it was interesting. You didn't see this, Isaiah? I assume you would have jumped in by this point.
You should watch it afterwards. It's pretty good.
No. Okay.
You're not. I give it a 4 out of 10 when I watched it. But
really?
Yeah, it's like I said.
It went past my It went past my expectations for the movie, but I went in with 0.
Oh, it definitely exceeded my expectations. I thought it was going to be shit. I thought it was going to be total shit.
And it also has a really good twist at the end, too.
Oh, yeah, no, the twist is good. And I really like Vanessa Hudgens in the movie. Why isn't she in more stuff?
Didn't know that was her till like halfway through the movie.
She had to get off that High School Musical hype train, dude. Yeah. You gotta take a break after that.
Well, she goes from there to doing heroin in this movie.
I mean, her co-star's Ted Bundy in his movie, so...
Yeah. So, one last Netflix show here on a much more innocent level. I've been watching Tidying Up with Marie Kondo. Zach, you said you've seen this. Have you seen this, Isaiah?
I have seen previews for it.
Okay, so she basically is this woman who uses this. She's made her own tactic to keep your house nice and tidy. Mm. She goes into these people's homes that are like couples, and they're like idiots, and their house is all messy, and they hoard everything, and she's like, all right, this is what we're going to do to clean it. And I don't know why, but it's just like the most satisfying thing to watch. Like seeing someone's home be trashed and this woman just come in and clean and fold everything. It's just so relaxing.
Yeah, it has a real pleasant feeling to it. You're just like, wow. But then not at one point was like, I should go do this to my own house. I was just like, I'm going to watch the next episode.
Yeah, it's like, man, I should really do this method. Or I'll just watch these people do it. Yeah. And leave my house to be a mess.
Let's see how this goes through the 8 more episodes.
But it's like... They absolutely hate the people on the show, like the couple she's helping, because they're just so lazy. Like she's like, all right, well, you do the dishes. And then the wife is like, I just don't have the time to do the dishes. It's like, you're a stay-at-home mom. I'm sure that's a hard job, but you don't have time to do the dishes. Like, it takes 5... And anyway, it's a great show.
Yeah.
Worth watching.
This show came out at a weird time for me because I don't remember, there was some YouTuber who was talking about how they're just like, on YouTube, there are girls who just like do house cleaning videos in very like provocative clothing, and
God.
it's basically like being a porn star tryouts on YouTube. And then like the week after I watched that YouTube video of this person talking about it, like this show came out and I was like, holy shit. Like, did it make it all the way to Netflix?
The exact opposite.
Yeah, they did not go down that
A
path.
very dainty Asian woman who can't speak a word of English first off. You have to have a translator with her the entire time.
But I do actually like that part of it because it's like you don't have to deal with like the homeowners trying to argue with her like, no, we can't do it. It's like they can't say anything because she doesn't speak English. So she's just like, okay. Like the woman's just like, they're like, I can't do the dishes. She's like, okay, next room. She just doesn't give a fuck about what they say.
I also, though, haven't watched enough episodes to fully understand her method as a whole because they break it up. So it's just like step 5, and I'm just like, what were the other steps before this? Like, I want to know this.
She really does break it down, but I've learned some tips. It's a good nice
Have you
show.
executed any of them?
No, I know.
No?
I just watched these idiots do it on the show. Like she's like for all the drawers in your kitchen, get little boxes to put everything so you easily know what you have. I'm like, that's so smart. I haven't done it. All the drawers in my kitchen are just fucking junk drawers.
The one thing that she keeps saying is like, make sure to keep only things that bring you joy. And I'm just waiting for, and I'm not done with the season. I'm just waiting for it to get to one person who's just like, wow, I have nothing that brings me joy right now. I'm just
burn this fucking house to the ground.
Mom, you forgot me. No, I didn't.
Only keep what gives you joy. Kicks out the kids. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, I don't know how we're going to continue. Okay. Zach, we have a very dark subject matter this episode, but...
That was the transition we needed. It's dying in a fire. So let's go ahead and move on to the main topic, which for Valentine's Day, instead of doing all the lovey-dovey stuff, we're going to go ahead and look into some of the darker side of Valentine's Day and look into some true crime things that happened on Valentine's Day. I went ahead and I really want to cover 3, but there's one that I actually want to talk to you guys about. Because actually, first off, this was actually a real big nationwide case that happened, and I never knew it actually happened on Valentine's Day. But just one that I wanted to cover really quickly was the murder of Riva Steenkamp, and her murderer was Oscar. I'm going to murder this last name. Bistros. He was actually the Paralympic runner who was the double amputee that ran in the Olympics or tried out for the Olympics and then ended up running for the Paralympic team for South Africa. He actually murdered his girlfriend in their home. He shot her, where he allegedly thought it was a burglar breaking in, but that turned out to be completely false. Actually ended up going to jail for this. But I never knew this actually happened on Valentine's Day. But I just knew with how much news it got and everything that I would assume both of you would have heard about it.
I did hear about this actually, and it was one of those things that I never would have thought of again, but you just brought it up and I remember it happening. And it's like this Olympic, this triumphant story, and then he ends up killing his wife. Yeah. It's always crazy when those things happen.
It can snap like that, man.
So how did he kill her? He shoot her?
He shot her, yes.
Because he thought it was a break-in. Well, he claimed he thought it was a break-in.
Claimed it was a break-in, yeah.
You didn't. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I don't remember the story.
Just wanted to give a shout out to that one.
No. Will you ever watch the Olympics the same way again?
They're all murderers.
You ever watch the Paralympics
sex
the same way?
Every time I think of the Paralympics, I just think of that terrible Johnny Knoxville movie, The Ringer.
Oh,
that was the Special Olympics, but also, yes.
Oh, aren't people in wheelchairs, or is it completely different Olympics?
I think, from my understanding, from me doing the minimum research I've done on this one, is that there's the Paralympics, which, to my understanding, is...
For paraplegics?
Yes.
Oh, so they have their own Olympics.
Yes, and then...
Special Olympics is for
correct,
everybody.
yeah, because usually Special Olympics is someone who's dealing with some other issues and stuff, not like just missing a limb or something.
Like mental,
like that.
More so mental.
Correct.
Or physical, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that movie was bad. All right.
Is there actually a national Special Olympics?
There's got to be. I hear about companies working all the time with the Special Olympics.
Well, I know there's smaller ones. I know our high school was a big supporter of Special Olympics, and we would go and volunteer and everything like that. But I didn't know if there was
places just do their own.
Yeah.
Huh. No, I think that there's a whole ladder you go up, dog, for the Special Olympics.
All right, we're getting off topic.
All right.
I'm pretty sure.
Someone let us know.
You might be right. We'll find out from people. But let's go ahead and dive into the first one, and we'll talk about Dr. Death, the Valentine's Day edition. So on Valentine's Day 2001, Dr. John Hamilton, a doctor of Oklahoma City, came home between surgeries where he found his wife, Susan Hamilton, dead in a pool of her own blood. She was strangled with 2 of her own neckties and had her skull beaten so badly that pieces of her brain were exposed. When John arrived, he tried to revive his wife while the police and ambulances were coming, but Susan could not be saved and she died on scene.
Damn.
Is that it? Did they find the killer?
Well, let's get into that. So first, John was not a suspect at all. He actually, when this happened, he actually went back to the hospital and proceeded to finish his surgeries for the day.
Oh, he did it.
He totally did.
Yeah.
He totally did that.
But like I said, at first he was not a suspect.
That's the most suspect thing you can do.
Just, my wife said I gotta go back
You
and
gotta
finish
go
the
back
surgery.
and try to save other people's lives.
How was your lunch break?
Well, my wife's dead.
Well, my wife's
What?
dead.
See you in the
All right,
yard.
let's cut this guy open.
Just started blasting Metallica.
Yeah, but by all of their friends' accounts, Susan and John's pretty much had a happy marriage. So, like, they didn't see him fight too much. Everything seemed to be going on. But soon investigators started digging deeper into the relationship, and that's soon changed. So first, there was a note that was left in the Valentine's Day card that Susan wrote for John that read, "I bought my card 2 weeks ago, so I guess maybe they don't seem as appropriate now, but I do love you. Have a good day." Exactly. So
So they broke up.
yeah, so you obviously knew something was going on at that point. When they started digging deeper into John at this point in time, they started to find that he had several texts and calls with a stripper, and they're actually having an affair on the side.
It was actually the girl from Polar. That was the.
You're probably not wrong.
Dang.
They got
She
the wrong person.
died by the pool, just like Johnny Knoxville in the movie.
She would also, every single time before they were... Sorry.
Back to Polar.
Back to Polar. Every single time when the sniper was about to shoot her, when she was doing it, she would be like,
Time to go to Blowtown.
yeah, time to go to Blowtown, and then she would say bang, and then he would fucking shoot her. Back to this.
Oh, and real quick, this is a spoiler, but I don't care. So, when she's blowing Mads Mikkelsen, and he's about to get shot, right as the guy pulls the trigger, he just lifts her up, and she gets shot. And they never explained how he knew a sniper rifle was going to shoot him from miles away.
I'm assuming it's because you could fucking hear her because she had the earpiece in, and they're like, are we going to shoot her yet?
I get that he's supposed to be like this badass, but he literally just he's getting a blowjob and is like figured, oh, I'm about to get shot, and pulls her up. Anyway, that doesn't kill her. He hits her in the head with an axe. All right, go ahead.
Back to Dr. Death. But yeah, like I said, police found evidence that Susan found. Actually, Susan also found dozens of calls from the stripper and text messages pretty much confirming that they were cheating. To make things even worse for John, the police found traces of blood and flesh that belonged to Susan in his car afterwards, which at first he tried to explain off as I was trying to revive my wife, but with that much on him and like actual flesh on him, that pretty much symbolized that he was the one attacking her at that point in time. So John was charged with murder and they went to trial. His defense team actually hired a respected crime scene investigator named Tom Beeville as an expert witness. Tom Beeville's huge into blood spatter and has been used multiple times in court cases. And pretty much he was brought in to make sure that what the doctors found on scene was consistent with what he has seen over his lifetime. But before the trial even began, Beale found some blood spatter on Hamilton's right sleeve that the prosecution experts hadn't seen. Beale said that he thought the blood pattern was consistent with what would have happened if Hamilton struck his wife, being the attacker. He said that he didn't think it came from actually giving her CPR just because of the way that it was. He said that the blood spatters on his right arm was the neon sign pointing to the wearer of this shirt being associated with the beating of Susan.
It must suck when you're the defense and you bring in an expert to help you out, and they're just like, "Nah, you didn't."
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh well, fucking thanks.
Yeah.
My thing is like, would you give somebody CPR if their brain was exposed?
Yeah, like what are you
I
trying
don't
to do?
think he actually gave her CPR.
Oh, that was all just
yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, like I can say that I shot you in the head and tried to give you CPR, but what's it going to do
He
at that
admitted
point?
it, dude. If I die before this comes out, Zach killed me.
But only headshot.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just so, like, what a terrible lie. You could come up with something better than that. You're a doctor.
So he gets caught cheating with a stripper, so he just kills her.
Pretty much.
I feel like I'm missing something here. Like,
Well,
or
you
he's
think-
just crazy.
Well, you think he's probably like, she's going to leave me and take half my money.
That's always a big motive. Yeah, you're right.
And why do you think the stripper's there to start with? Because this isn't some young buck guy. It's like a 50-year-old surgeon. But while
You should
Beale...
have cut her up.
When Beale was under oath, he was asked if there was anything else the prosecution missed on the stand. So Beevil spilled everything and pretty much came out and said, on that right shoulder, there's a lot of blood spatter. That's pretty much only the killer could have gotten. And the prosecution pretty much just all slammed their heads on their desk and was just like, we're done. Which actually led to John being convicted of his wife's murder.
So that's even worse. You bring this guy in, and not only does he corroborate with their story, he also says, by the way, they missed some stuff. You definitely did it.
Yeah, you have to imagine just the defense attorney walking up, it's like, have they missed anything? And then he just does it.
Him walking up to the defense and being like, here's my bill, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah,
so he's in jail for a long time.
And he's not getting out.
All right, that's good. That's good at least.
Yeah, but that's the story of Dr. John. Moving on to his second one. This one's actually... Never heard of this one. This one's in our home state of Ohio, in Hamilton, Ohio. And this is the story of the Valentine's Day beheading. So Raymond Tanner of Hamilton, Ohio, who was previously a steakhouse meat cutter, killed his wife on Valentine's Day in 1990 after an argument in his Fairfield home. He then sawed his wife's head off her body, placed it gently onto their bed, and then he walked to the police station still wearing his bloody clothing to admit that he killed her.
Oh, so he just straight up admitted it. Like, yeah, I killed her.
Oh, yeah. He has some mental things going on for sure. Definitely wasn't in the right state of mind. But actually, one thing that the defense brought up is that they were trying to argue that Tanner was dealing with the death of one of their children at the time, which would have been seen as a stressor. And because of this, he actually got off. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was only sent to a mental health facility.
Just because their child died, so they're saying like he wasn't in the right state of mind, that's enough to get you off of a murder?
We're not even done yet. Tanner was soon released after only spending 6 years in the facility, where he was then put on a medication regimen, which every 3 months he gets checked to make sure, to pretty much say like, do you still need to have this medication or can you come off it? And he is also under court supervised Probation, thank you. Every 2 years, which is also looked at every 2 years to see if he's supposed to be under probation.
Real quick, what's it? You guys might know more about this. What's the difference between probation and parole?
I think
because like out on probation's like you committed a crime, you're out, but if you fuck up again, you're going back to jail. That's probation, right?
Right.
Or is probation when you get out on bail? And parole is when you get out, but if you fuck up again, you're back in.
I don't know, dude.
None of us know. Never mind. Zach's looking it up, it seems like.
I'm not in trouble with the law or plan to be.
Never been in trouble with the law?
So, probation refers to adult offenders whom court places under supervision in the community through a probation agency.
Okay.
And parole is actually when they're released from prison to serve the remaining portion of their sentence in the community.
Okay.
So, parole, you're technically still in jail, quote unquote, but you get to serve it out in the community as long as you don't fuck it up.
But probation is you're actually done, but just don't mess it up.
Yeah, it's pretty much like you have 3 years not to do anything bad at this point in time.
So they're kind of similar, just a little bit different. Okay,
yeah, just the slight.
So go on with it. Now that we've been educated, go on with it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the last article I was able to find was in 2011, where as of 2011, he was still on his medication regimen, which I hope he stays on till the day he dies. And he was also, they renewed the court supervision probation, which for another 2 years. This was 2011. I haven't been able to find another article on this to see if he is on either of those still.
Yeah. You know, that's really crazy that this is completely unrelated. But, I mean, it's kind of related, but the sense that this guy's out now, basically.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird, and isn't it kind of weird it hasn't happened yet, that someone who did something like that and like is now free. I know that doesn't happen all the time, but you never hear about them starting like a blog or like a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Because it's like
be crazy.
Because they'd have a built-in audience already. You know what I mean? Like obviously this guy was not like a serial killer who wants fame or anything, but I'm just saying like, wouldn't that be weird? Like what could the police do? Nothing, right?
Can you imagine getting only 6 years for killing your wife?
Yeah. Well. It depends on if you believe the sanity thing, right? I mean, that's always been an argument like forever, I feel like.
But even if you found not guilty of insanity and you're sent to a mental health institution, You're only there for 6 years.
It's fucked up, man. I agree.
That he pretty much went to college for some people and got out.
Yeah, well,
Like the college link.
there's a million-year-long discussion we could have about how the mental health system in the United States is terrible and how it is just kind of a cop-out for people who are slightly crazier than any other murderer.
And the judicial system in general, and the prison system in general. It's all bad.
Yeah.
But, yeah, hopefully he's never hurts anyone again. But does he live in Ohio still? That's kind of scary.
I don't know. It's actually my
lives
girlfriend's hometown, so I hope not.
Hamilton?
Yep. Hamilton, Ohio.
Jesus.
Zach's going to get murdered by him now because we talked about it.
I'll try to find an interview.
He listens
Who do you
to the
want
pod.
us to replace you with on the podcast if you die?
I'll put it in my will.
Wouldn't it kind of be like legally like that guy though? Because he killed Zach,
So
so
then-
we would have he would have the rightful spot.
I would hope if I get killed by that guy, he at least... That's a violation of his probation.
No, he's back in the institution though for 6 years. He's not.
But so we can do a podcast from there?
Probably.
All right, well, if Zach gets killed, we're going to replace him with Alex.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a fair argument.
And then if Alex gets killed,
It's over.
let's say, yeah, we're canceling the podcast.
It can't
It's
just
cursed.
be me and Isaiah. There has to be
All right. So let's go on.
if we wait real quick, if one of our members kept getting killed and you brought on a third member and that third member just kept getting killed, you start to be like, what the hell's going on here?
if you're
Like, is it one of us? Is it someone who listens? Like, what's happening?
If the podcast is not on national news at that point in time, we're doing it wrong.
All right, Zach, you got to take one for the team. I'm trying to become podcast famous.
You want to be that podcast that's been known for the murders?
Yeah, I'm trying to be that podcast that had 3 and then had 2 and then had 3 and then had 2 and then had 3.
It's like you're like a serial killer of your podcast hosts. All right.
That's the twist.
Before I get into my death, let's go on to the final Valentine's Day true crime story I'm going to talk about, which is the Valentine's Day Massacre. So, actually, I did not know really anything about this one going into. I've just heard it pretty much on TV shows, true crime shows. Have you guys heard anything about this one before I dive in?
Is this the one where Al Capone killed a lot of people?
Yes.
I always get confused with My Bloody Valentine, which is a horror movie, which is not this. So, no, I don't know anything about this.
I can imagine you reading this and just being like, man, Zach's going to talk about this awesome
Yeah,
movie.
This isn't... You're, like, talking about it, and I'm like, this isn't the movie I watched at all.
There is a movie on about this, though.
Oh, is it really? Is it
There
called
is.
Valentine's Day Massacre? What's it? Do you know what it's called?
I don't remember the name of it, no.
All right.
But I can look
called
up.
I'll
Say
look it
Hello
up.
to My Little Friend.
I'll look it up while you're talking about it.
Yeah, so like that. So like Isaiah said, this is pretty much the story of how Al Capone killed a lot of his enemies, henchmen, I would say, in Chicago. So on Valentine's Day, 4 men dressed as police officers enter gangsters Bug Marone's headquarters on North Clark Street in Chicago, lined 7 of Marone's henchmen against a wall, and then shot them to death execution style. That St. Valentine's Day Massacre is what it's now called, was the accumulation of a gang war between Al Capone and Bugs Marone that ended on that day, essentially.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Could you just imagine just being like, yeah, we're going in this, oh, fuck, we got it fucked.
The movie is called The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It was released in 1967, so they should make another one. They should make a remake of this.
We'll do it ourselves.
It's crazy to me, and this is completely off topic, but it's what I'm thinking about currently.
That's the theme of this episode, right?
Yeah, which is completely off topic. It is insane to me how easily you'll be remembered if you're infamous compared to if you're famous.
By far.
Like, Al Capone has probably got a bigger reach than anybody who's done anything good and got a Nobel Peace Prize.
Not wrong.
Or even take it to the next level, even being famous as like a celebrity. Like, is anyone going to remember who Katy Perry is in 20 years? No.
Right.
Like, well, maybe.
But
She could come back.
But
But they know who Al Capone is.
yeah, but I was about to say I can name like 20 serial killers off the top of my head, but I couldn't tell you who.
I couldn't name 20 doctors, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blows my mind. And then, like, this is just crazy. Like, didn't he...
Dr. Seuss. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was trying to think of
That's
doctors.
Yeah, Dr. Kim
Phil.
Jong.
Yeah, Dr. Phil.
Yeah, no, it's just insane that... Because he didn't go to jail after this. Like, there is no way Al Capone went to jail for
No.
this murder.
I'll get into
These
that.
murders.
Yeah. So just to get back into it, George Bugs Marone was a criminal who ran the North Side Gang in Chicago during the bootlegging era, and he fought bitterly with Al Capone for control of the smuggling and trafficking operations in Chicago during this time. Throughout the entire 1920s, both survived several attempts on each other's lives that were placed onto each other's heads. On one notorious occasion, Marone and his associates drove 6 cars past a hotel where Capone and his associates were having lunch and showered the building with more than 1,000 bullets in the attempt to kill Al Capone.
And he survived?
And he survived.
Because he's a god.
That's like some 50 Cent stuff right there.
Right,
Yeah.
dude.
And then a $50,000 bounty was put on Capone's head, which you have to think during the 1920s, that's a huge sum of money to be put on someone's head, even if you're a top-tier gangster. And pretty much Capone saw this as the final straw. He ordered Marone's gang to be destroyed, and then on February 10th, when delivery of bootleg whiskey was going to Marone's headquarters, that's when they executed their plan. 7 of Al Capone's henchmen went in, lined up all of them against the wall, and shot them. Marone was actually there and was supposed to be in the building that day, but he saw the Al Capone's men in the police officers' uniforms going in, and just assumed that they were going to get raided, and they thought like, okay, I'm just going to sit this through. But then when he saw the assassins come in, heard gunshots, and only saw them walk out, he got a little fishy and ran away. 2 of the men that were actually killed there were 2 of Marone's best killers, Frank and Pete Gunsberg, which are both huge hitmen for Marone's crime family, and did multiple murders for him throughout his time there.
The Mafia is so fucking cool, dude. So fucking cool, man.
I wanted to one day do just a complete thing on Frank and Pete Gunsberg, because these guys are metal as hell. Reportedly, Frank was actually still alive when the real police showed up, and when they showed up and asked him who shot him, the mortally wounded Gunsberg kept his code of silence, keeping his hitman ethics together, saying no one shot me, as he's bleeding out onto the concrete.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit!
That's
this
gangster
guy's
right
a
there.
badass, bro.
So later, like I said, this pretty much ended their feud because Marone couldn't pretty much come back from this financially. He had no way to get money in to be able to fight Capone or to pretty much stay as a huge gangster in Chicago. But later in 1931, Capone was later jailed for all things pretty much being a hobo. So I guess in the 1930s, they had something called vagrancy, which is pretty much like you could be put in jail for being a hobo person walking around not contributing to society.
Like being homeless, essentially?
Yeah.
You get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit.
and put in jail.
Which I guess there's...
Which is surprising that they didn't get him for tax evasion or some dumb
Well, that's why he was on the run. It was for tax invasion. He was like, I have nothing. I need to just leave. And I have
Right.
no signs. And they pretty much found him homeless. But I guess a lot of police actually still can do that to this day. But that's how they get people in that are also associated with other crimes. Like they can arrest them for that and be like, hey, by the way, we see here that you're wanted for murder or drug trafficking or something like that.
Murder. Hey, we arrested this guy for being a hobo. By the way, you're wanted for murder.
murder.
Yeah. But on last little remark about this, on the 7th anniversary of the Valentine's Day massacre, Jack McGurn, who was one of the Valentine's Day hitmen, was killed in a crowded bowling alley with a burst of machine gun fire. McKern's killer remains unidentified, but it's likely that Marone himself or Marone hired someone to do the slaying of Jack McKern.
That's my favorite Valentine's Day crime. Except for when they sell you those boxes of chocolates and the chocolates kind of suck and then like...
And they're all
That's a
coconut?
crime.
Yeah.
Just every time I walk out of Mally's and look at my receipt, that's a crime right
That's
there.
also a crime. That's a big crime.
Yeah, we're basically choosing between a bunch of terrible things where people were murdered, but yeah, I would choose this one as well.
But I would choose the crimes by the candy industry.
Well, at least these are criminals being murdered, right? Well, that's still not good. No, murder's not good. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Zach, what have you done to me?
This is what I'm
Welcome to
saying.
my head!
Al
Shit, man.
Capone, El Chapo, all these huge gangsters will go down in infamy forever on the like tiers of president status. Like, I know more gangsters than I do presidents before I was born. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Fuck.
And
I
some of
think we need
the
to be-
older presidents probably were also gangsters.
Probably.
Probably not wrong.
Or at least paid by them.
I know that
More than likely.
my you guys know Candy, the grandmother of my brother, not me though, but it's weird.
It's
but anyway, she always used to tell me, she's like, they could have arrested Al Capone whenever they wanted, but they knew they couldn't because if they arrested him, nothing would be organized. It'd all be chaos. So that's what I grew up being taught.
Hell yeah.
That basically Al Capone and the police were kind of in on it together, but he was like, hey, look, you can't arrest me because then no one's going to be controlling this shit.
I just need all of the people listening to this and the people in this room to know is if I was ever approached to be in the mob, I would be 100% in the mob. 100%.
I feel
I'd
like
be
you
so
die.
in.
For all we know, we don't. You could be in
I
it right now.
hopefully am.
Pretty dangerous job. I feel like you could get killed anytime.
Anytime.
Whacked.
It'd be sweet.
Whack. There we go. Got to use the right vocabulary.
I would teach Nova to be an attack dog.
Sure already is.
There's this movie, American Made, with Tom Cruise that came out a couple years ago. Not very good. But towards the end, he is like, has a hit on him from, I think, the mob. And every time he like goes to start his car, he thinks it's going to blow up. So like anytime people are walking by his car, he's like, excuse me, sir? You back away about like 20, 30 feet. All right, thanks. So then he starts his car. Yeah, he eventually gets killed, but...
Is it from a car bomb?
No, he just gets into his car and then someone just comes up and shoots him in the head.
See, I feel like that would be the worst. It's just that the fact that you always have to look over your shoulder and like have that like mindset, like,
Yeah.
all right, if I turn my key right here, I might die.
I already have that mindset. I'm not even in the mob.
What enemies do you have?
Why didn't you tell us?
Constantly. Like when you guys open that door, I'll be like,
It's my time.
For those listening, he looked around conspicuously.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Zach. I'm going to have a great Valentine's Day now. We want to thank American Spirits for Blanket Forts and Surgerberger for the See It, Rent It, Stream It theme. That's about it.
Yep. You can find us here at Hooligan Radio at Hooligan_radio on Twitter, Hooligan.radio on Instagram. On YouTube, you can find us just by typing in the Hooligan Radio podcast name.
Yeah, we haven't really posted on Instagram in like a month. I deleted it off my phone, so I don't...
Should I even get
I
an Instagram?
also deleted it off my phone. So, yeah, you got to get Instagram, Zach, so you can take charge of our Instagram.
Yeah, this is your
Yeah.
new task. Also, yeah, so follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, because we still post stuff there, but
Yeah.
Instagram's pretty
Go
big
Twitter
right
first.
now.
We'll get that back up soon. But you can find me on Twitter at Zaxy_I know it. Josh, where can we find you?
On Twitter, _Joshua Singh, and Joshua Singh on YouTube, where I just posted my first Pokemon review, my first time watching Pokemon, and I'll be doing that. I'm also going to be posting soon my first time watching Creed, which came out a few years ago, so I'm very excited to watch that this week. What about you, Isaiah?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PHP_ISlaya. You can find me on Apex Legends, ISlaya with 2 A's at the end. If you need me to carry you to the dub, just hit me up. I've brought everyone I played with 1 win at least.
I heard they already have like 50 million people playing that or
I think
something.
it was 10 million last time I checked, but that was before the weekend, so 50 million could have
I think I
happened.
saw a headline that
It
said
did
like...
break during the weekend for a while.
But that's Activision too, right?
No,
That's
that's
EA.
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 Even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse.
I'm not content with the